Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. At least 124 people killed in South Korea plane crash. Bird strike, adverse weather likely caused fatal crash at Muan International Airport. New Georgia President Mikhail Kavelashvili sworn in amid political crisis. Outgoing president agrees to leave presidential palace but vows to fight on. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi hails recent reports on malaria and cancer, says country is making remarkable progress in the field of science, health and education. And in sports, Nathan Lyon Boland frustrate India as Australia's lead stretches to 333 at Melbourne. Updates on South Korea plane crash first. The death toll in the South Korea plane crash rose to 120. South Korea's National Fire Agency in a statement said that 2 people, both crew members, rescued so far, while 120 others confirmed dead. The search and rescue operations are still on. The crash occurred as Jeju Air flight carrying 175 passengers and 6 crew on board from the Thai capital Bangkok was landing shortly after 9 a.m. local time at the airport in the south of the Asian nation. With the impact of the crash, the aircraft broke in half and caught fire. The cause of accident is presumed to be a bird strike combined with adverse weather conditions. However, the exact cause will be announced following a joint investigation. Meanwhile, all domestic and international flights at Muan Airport had been cancelled. South Korea's Transport Minister Park Sang-woo has assured that the government will mobilize all available resources to ensure a swift rescue operation.
As the minister responsible for overseeing aviation administration, I extend my deepest apologies and condolences to the bereaved families and the public. The government will mobilize all available resources to ensure swift rescue operations, manage the aftermath of the accident, support the bereaved families, and thoroughly investigate the causes of the incident.
South Korea's suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol refused a summons to appear for questioning on Sunday, the third time he has defied investigators' demands in 2 weeks. Yoon, a former prosecutor, also failed to attend a hearing he was summoned to last Wednesday, giving no explanation for his absence. The Conservative leader was stripped of his duty by Parliament on December 14, following a short-lived martial law declaration that plunged the country into its worst political crisis in decades. Yoon faces impeachment and criminal charges of insurrection, which could result in life imprisonment or even the death penalty. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un held a key policy-setting meeting of the country's ruling party last week ahead of the new year. According to state media KCNA, the meeting of party and government officials decided that North Korea would launch the toughest strategy to counteract the United States for its security and national interests. The December 23rd to 27 meeting also reviewed the handling of floods earlier this year, including the plan that brought those affected to Pyongyang, the capital. The country also vowed to promote relations with friendly countries during the meeting. Kim also called for progress in defense science and technology to bolster the country's war deterrence. Mikhail Kavelashvili, a hardline critic of the West, has been sworn in as president of Georgia on Sunday amid a political crisis after the government froze European Union application talks in a move that sparked major protests. Kavelashvili is expected to further escalate the political crisis after the contested October 26 parliamentary election in which the pro-Russian Georgian Dream claimed a landslide victory. Meanwhile, the outgoing president, Salome Zorabishvili, a pro-EU critic of the ruling party, said in a defiant speech to supporters outside the presidential palace that she was leaving the residence but remained the legitimate office holder. Russian energy giant Gazprom would suspend gas exports to Moldova from January 1st due to unpaid debt by Moldova, which is bracing for severe power cuts. Russia supplies Moldova with about 2 billion cubic meters of gas per year, which is piped via Ukraine to the breakaway region of Transnistria, where it is used to generate cheap power that is sold to government-controlled parts of Moldova. Moldovan Prime Minister condemned the Russian decision, which is a precursor to a total shutdown of Russian gas exports via Ukraine and to Europe, where it flows further to Slovakia, Austria, Hungary and Italy. Once a current transit deal with Ukraine expires on December 31st, Moldova will be hit the hardest by the shutdown. In a statement on Facebook, Moldovan PM accused Russia of using energy as a political weapon and said that Moldova would now consider its legal options, including international arbitration. US President-elect Donald Trump on Saturday defended the visa program that allows highly skilled foreign workers to immigrate to the US. Trump, in an interview, sided with key supporter and billionaire tech CEO Elon Musk in a public dispute over the use of the H-1B visa, saying he fully backs the program for foreign tech workers opposed by some of his supporters. Trump's remarks followed a series of social media posts from Musk, the CEO of Tesla, Open's new tab, and SpaceX, who vowed late Friday to go to war to defend the visa program for foreign tech workers. In his first term, Trump restricted access to foreign worker visas, and he has previously criticized the program. But during the 2024 campaign, Trump signaled openness to giving some foreign-born workers legal status if they graduated from a US university. Updates on Israel-Hamas conflict now. Israeli forces have detained over 240 people, including several medical staff and the director of a hospital in northern Gaza during a raid on December 27. The Israeli military claimed that Gaza's Kamal Adwan hospital was being used as a Hamas command center, with all detainees suspect of militant ties. Ahead of the operation, the Israeli military said it coordinated the evacuation of 350 patients and staff to nearby facilities. In a separate incident, Israeli forces intercepted 2 projectiles launched from northern Gaza toward Israel on Saturday. Meanwhile, in Tel Aviv, hundreds of flag-waving protesters gathered downtown, calling for a ceasefire in Gaza and a deal to secure the release of hostages. The newly appointed head of intelligence services in Syria said the country's security institution will be restructured after all current security entities are dissolved. Anas Khattab announced a plan to dissolve the institutions that were so feared under the rule of ousted dictator Bashar al-Assad 2 days after being appointed to his post by the country's new leadership. In a statement, he stressed the suffering of Syrians under the oppression of old regime. Prisons were emptied after Assad's fall as officials and agents of the deposed regime fled. Meanwhile, people protested outside Downing Street in central London to call on UK government to uphold its humanitarian obligations and end the suspension of asylum applications for Syrians. Thousands have fled Mozambique in the past week to neighboring Malawi, seeking refuge from the southern African nation's deadly post-election protests. Some 13,000 people have crossed over to Malawi since Monday, according to government sources. The day Mozambique's top court confirmed the ruling party's win in October's vote. Several government ministries were put on alert, and the asylum seekers were being housed across a number of temporary sites. Around 134 of those were killed since the top court on Monday confirmed victory for the Frelimo party, which has been in power since independence from Portugal 5 decades ago. Afghanistan is making headway in one of its biggest infrastructure projects. Officials say the second phase of the Kosh Tepa Canal in northern Afghanistan is nearing completion. According to National Development Corporation, 81% of canal's second phase is complete, while construction of associated dam has reached 67%. The ongoing work on this canal project is taking place in the Ankhoy district of Faryab province. This ambitious project aims to revolutionize irrigation in the region and significantly boost agricultural productivity. This will help achieve self-sufficiency in grain production that Afghanistan has to import from many other countries. The project will also generate numerous job opportunities in various sectors in the war-torn nation. Saudi Arabia is undergoing a transformation under Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's Vision 2030, with women at the heart of these sweeping reforms. From gaining the right to drive to breaking workplace barriers, the kingdom's women are stepping into new opportunities. Here's more.
For decades, women in Saudi Arabia lived under strict restrictions. They were required to wear abayas, prohibited from interacting with men outside their families, and they couldn't drive. But in 2018, everything changed. The historic lifting of the 86-year-old ban on women driving marked a new chapter in the kingdom. It was part of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's Vision 2030, a reform plan to diversify the economy and modernize society. Najad, one of the first Saudi women to get her driving license, recalls the liberating experience.
I was a bit scared. I used to go out by driver, but now I rely more on myself and I drive myself. It's a wonderful feeling.
Saudi women are feeling changes in other areas as well. They can now travel without a male guardian, attend sports events, vote, and even work in public facing jobs. Gender segregation in restaurants has also ended. Work profile of women is also seeing a drastic change in their favor. An increasing number of Saudi women are now joining the workforce. This is bringing about new business opportunities in the land.
In the past, Saudi women used to work in their homes, but today women are going out to work. Saudi women have all the capabilities to develop this country.
But challenges remain. Legal restrictions require Saudi women to obtain the consent of a male guardian to get married or divorced. However, their growing presence in public life is reshaping the kingdom, one step at a time, and many believe that there will be more progress. Bureau Report, DD India.
The UK will end a tax exemption for private schools starting from 1st of January 2025. The centre-left Labour government has announced in a move set to raise over $1.9 billion for public education. After years of worsening educational inequalities, from January 1st, private schools will have to pay 20% value-added tax on tuition fees, which will be used to fund thousands of new teachers and improve standards in state schools. The policy was promised by Labour in its election campaign and officially laid out in its inaugural budget in October. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlights the significance of mega festival in his Mann Ki Baat. The Indian Space Research Organisation set to launch its space docking experiment SpaceX on Monday.
This year, the Wall of Sports gave unforgettable moments that will forever echo in the halls of glory. From Paris Olympics 2024 to India's trailblazing success at the Paralympics, chess prodigy Gukesh conquering the world, India ended a long way to bring home the T20 World Cup glory. And on the European stage, Spain proved their dominance yet again. Relive the drama, the triumphs and the passion that defined Sports Saga 2024.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed recent reports on malaria and cancer. Sharing his thoughts in 117th episode of his Mann Ki Baat radio program, PM Modi said India is making remarkable progress in the field of science, health and education.
भारत की दो बड़ी उपलब्धियां आज विश्व का ध्यान आकर्षित कर रही है। पहली उपलब्धि मिली है मलेरिया से लड़ाई में। मलेरिया की बीमारी 4000 वर्षों से मानवता के लिए एक बड़ी चुनौती रही है। आज मैं संतोष से कह सकता हूं कि देशवासियों ने मिलकर इस चुनौती का दृढ़ता से मुकाबला किया है। विश्व स्वास्थ्य संगठन WHO की रिपोर्ट कहती है, भारत में 2015 से 2023 के बीच मलेरिया के मामलों और इससे होने वाली मौतों में 80% की कमी आई है। यह कोई छोटी उपलब्धि नहीं है। साथियों, अपनी जागरूकता और संकल्प शक्ति से हम क्या कुछ हासिल कर सकते हैं, इसका दूसरा उदाहरण है कैंसर से लड़ाई। दुनिया के मशहूर मेडिकल जर्नल लैंसेट की स्टडी वाकई बहुत उम्मीद बढ़ाने वाली है। इस जर्नल के मुताबिक अब भारत में समय पर कैंसर का इलाज शुरू होने की संभावना काफी बढ़ गई है। समय पर इलाज का मतलब है कैंसर मरीज का ट्रीटमेंट 30 दिनों के भीतर ही शुरू हो जाना। और इसमें बड़ी भूमिका निभाई है आयुष्मान भारत योजना ने। इस योजना की वजह से कैंसर के 90% मरीज समय पर अपना इलाज शुरू करा पाए हैं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his Mann Ki Baat program elaborated upon the radiance of Indian culture in the world. He touched upon efforts from 3 continents which are witness to the global reach of Indian cultural heritage.
इनमें ताजमहल की एक शानदार पेंटिंग भी शामिल है, जिसे 13 साल की एक बच्ची ने बनाया है। आपको ये जानकर हैरानी होगी कि इस दिव्यांग बच्ची ने अपने मुंह से इस पेंटिंग को तैयार किया है। सबसे दिलचस्प बात यह है कि इन पेंटिंग्स को बनाने वाले भारत के नहीं, बल्कि इजिप्ट के स्टूडेंट्स हैं, वहां के विद्यार्थी हैं। कुछ ही हफ्ते पहले इजिप्ट के करीब 23,000 स्टूडेंट्स ने एक पेंटिंग प्रतियोगिता में हिस्सा लिया था। वहां उन्हें भारत की संस्कृति और दोनों देशों के ऐतिहासिक संबंधों को बताने वाली पेंटिंग तैयार करनी थी। मैं इस प्रतियोगिता में हिस्सा लेने वाले सभी युवाओं की सराहना करता हूं। उनकी क्रिएटिविटी की जितनी भी प्रशंसा किए जाए वो कम है।
He also mentioned the efforts in South America.
साथियों, दक्षिण अमेरिका का एक देश है पराग्वे। वहां रहने वाले भारतीयों की संख्या 1000 से ज्यादा नहीं होगी। पराग्वे में एक अद्भुत प्रयास हो रहा है। वहां भारतीय दूतावास में एरिका ह्यूबर फ्री आयुर्वेद कंसल्टेशन देती है। आयुर्वेद की सलाह लेने के लिए आज उनके पास स्थानीय लोग भी बड़ी संख्या में पहुंच रहे हैं। एरिका ह्यूबर ने भले ही इंजीनियरिंग की पढ़ाई की हो, लेकिन उनका मन तो आयुर्वेद में ही बसता है। उन्होंने आयुर्वेद से जुड़े कोर्सेज किए थे और समय के साथ वे इसमें पारंगत होती चली गई।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that a Tamil teaching program was started in Fiji with the support of Government of India.
बीते 80 वर्षों में यह पहला अवसर है जब फिजी में तमिल के ट्रेन टीचर्स इस भाषा को सिखा रहे हैं। मुझे ये जानकर अच्छा लगा कि आज फिजी के स्टूडेंट्स तमिल भाषा और संस्कृति को सीखने में काफी दिलचस्पी ले रहे हैं। साथियों, ये बातें, ये घटनाएं सिर्फ सफलता की कहानियां नहीं है, ये हमारी सांस्कृतिक विरासत की भी गाथाएं हैं। ये उदाहरण हमें गर्व से भर देते हैं। आर्ट से आयुर्वेद तक और लैंग्वेज से लेकर म्यूजिक तक भारत में इतना कुछ है जो दुनिया में छा रहा है।
In as Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the nation in the 117th edition of his monthly program Mann Ki Baat on Sunday, he threw light on the upcoming Maha Kumbh Mela, which will begin from January 2025. More in this report.
The 2025 Maha Kumbh Mela will take place in North India's Uttar Pradesh. The Mela, which is a mega cultural spiritual fair, will take place in the city of Prayagraj from January 13th to February 26th. The festival is a major gathering of people, including saints, sadhus, sadhvis, ascetics, and pilgrims. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlighted the significance of the mega festival in his Mann Ki Baat program on Sunday.
हम समाज में विभाजन और विद्वेष के भाव को नष्ट करने का संकल्प भी लें। अगर कम शब्दों में मुझे कहना है तो मैं कहूंगा, महाकुंभ का संदेश, एक हो पूरा देश। महाकुंभ का संदेश, एक हो पूरा देश। और अगर दूसरे तरीके से कहना है तो मैं कहूंगा, गंगा की अविरल धारा, न बटे समाज हमारा। गंगा की अविरल धारा, न बटे समाज हमारा।
The Prime Minister urged all to attend this mega festival of Maha Kumbh Mela 2025.
अनेकता में एकता का ऐसा दृश्य विश्व में कहीं और देखने को नहीं मिलेगा। इसलिए हमारा कुंभ एकता का महाकुंभ भी होता है। इस बार का महाकुंभ भी एकता के महाकुंभ के मंत्र को सशक्त करेगा। मैं आप सबसे कहूंगा, जब हम कुंभ में शामिल हो तो एकता के इस संकल्प को अपने साथ लेकर वापस आएं।
The Indian Prime Minister also informed countrymen about the concept of Digital Mahakumbh being introduced this year during the mega festival of Maha Kumbh Mela with the help of artificial intelligence.
साथियों, इस बार प्रयागराज में देश और दुनिया के श्रद्धालु डिजिटल महाकुंभ के भी साक्षी बनेंगे। डिजिटल नेविगेशन की मदद से आपको अलग-अलग घाट, मंदिर, साधुओं के अखाड़ों तक पहुंचने का रास्ता मिलेगा। यही नेविगेशन सिस्टम आपको पार्किंग तक पहुंचने में भी मदद करेगा। पहली बार कुंभ आयोजन में एआई चैटबॉट का प्रयोग होगा। एआई चैटबॉट के माध्यम से 11 भारतीय भाषाओं में कुंभ से जुड़ी हर तरह की जानकारी हासिल की जा सकेगी। इस चैटबॉट से कोई भी टेक्स्ट टाइप करके या बोलकर किसी भी तरह की मदद मांग सकता है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also asked all the visitors of the Maha Kumbh festival to upload selfies from the Mela with a hashtag.
आप भी महाकुंभ में जाएं तो इन सुविधाओं का लाभ अवश्य उठाएं। और हाँ, हैशटैग एकता का महाकुंभ के साथ अपनी सेल्फी जरूर अपलोड करिएगा।
Overall, this year during the Maha Kumbh Mela, devotees will also get the facility of Digital Lost and Found Center. Devotees will get information about government-approved tour packages and places to stay and homestays on their mobile phones. The Prime Minister assured all the visitors that they can take the advantage of all these facilities during the Maha Kumbh. Antara Sinha for DD India.
For the India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement, a deal that's boosting trade and creating opportunities on both sides. India's Minister for Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal took to micro-blogging platform X to share the achievements of the agreement. Signed 2 years ago, the ECTA has significantly increased market access for Indian exporters and brought opportunities for MSMEs, farmers and job seekers. Indian exports saw a 14% growth in 2023-24 under the agreement, along with a surge in IT, business and travel services. The agreement has also facilitated new post-study work and work holiday visas, strengthening the people-to-people connections between the two nations. Both countries are now committed to achieving a trade target of 100 billion Australian dollars by 2030, reflecting their shared vision of a prosperous and resilient partnership. From exports to education, the India-Australia ECTA is paving the way for stronger economic and cultural ties. The Indian Space Research Organisation is set to launch its space docking experiment SpaceX on December 30th. The mission will use PSLV C-60 lifting off at 21:58 IST from Sriharikota. SpaceX marks a milestone showcasing India's expertise in spacecraft docking technology. SpaceX will deploy 2 identical satellites. Key objectives include performing precision rendezvous and docking maneuvers, validating power transfer between docked spacecraft and operating payloads post-undocking with 2-year lifespan. This capability is vital for India's lunar and interplanetary missions. Docking technology enables multi-launch missions and supports future human spaceflight. Only the US, Russia and China have mastered such advancements so far. Well, a half-century from Marnus Labuschagne and stubborn tail-end batting drove Australia to a 333 runs lead at the end of day 4 in the 4th test against India in Melbourne on Sunday. Nathan Lyon and Scott Boland marched off after having added unbeaten 55 runs partnership for the final wicket as Australia went to stumps at 228 runs for the loss of 9 wickets. Lyon was 41 not out with number 11 Boland on 10. Earlier, Jasprit Bumrah grabbed 4 wickets to hand India an outside chance of victory. He dismissed Travis Head to earn his 200th test wicket. But Labuschagne, who scored 70, and Australia captain Pat Cummins steadied the hosts with a 57 runs partnership. Only one team has ever chased more than 300 for victory in a test at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. England mowed down 332 runs to beat Australia in 1928. That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.